that we are going to be able to get an overview in the next lobby of how some of these earlier zones play out. Jumping into the thick of it, though, with Poyo, it seems as though he's definitely encountered his fair share of struggles here, because this is a Poyo with 2 eliminations, sure, but he's getting hunted down right now by another duo. It's Yasir looking to play spoiler one more time. Poyo, Peter, bot. This might not be your lobby to take it, and in fact, Poyo shut down instantaneously. Criizux and Yasir, zero chance that they were going to let that elimination get away from them.
Yasir and Criizux are the big bad wolves of the lobby right now. First it was Acorn and Cold, now it's you know, picking up Peterbot and Poyo here, cleaning up what was left of the duo there. That's going to bring them on up to 3 eliminations. What, I'd say a shakeup, a turn of events right now. Take a look at the highlights of how this all more or less unfolded. So Poyo and Peterbot, of course, had a dominating run coming through the qualifying weeks, but as we're jumping into the semifinals now here, although they were doing exactly what we expect them to do, right? Fight teams, continue the W key, whether they need to or not, just keep that pressure, keep that action. This is where it all goes south, Taco. Peterbot falls first, leaving Poyo to fend for himself.
That just looked so greedy, though, from Peterbot. I mean, the immediate dive into another duo's box right after having just freshly finished off a clean elimination onto Snacky and Sunito. Peterbot might be questioning the necessities behind that one, but again, almost can't fault him considering everybody just wants Surge. And establishing that Surge earlier on is just going to make it all the easier for your rotations as the match develops. But Cliix, Epic, this is a familiar sight. Fighting likely over the weapons bunker. It spawns close to Lavish Lair here, but Cliix has to be careful. Wants to see if he can get this window peaked. Instead, gonna have to go for the quick wall edit, but still no real opportunity has been presented just yet for him to try and aggress even further onto Playify and higher.
Yeah, this is really good for Cliix and Epic Whale right now. We knew that one of the problems for this team was going to be finding early Storm Surge. So I like the fact that they're finding themselves already in a battle here, and more importantly, not necessarily taking unnecessary damage, right? Which is the hardest thing to do when you're in these types of engagements right here. Now, notice we're not seeing him find too many tags as Cliix and Epic Whale are just getting their hands dirty, looking for exchanges, but at the same time, they're not getting punished in return either. So this is a great spot to be in, more or less, and should they just find a few more, or possibly a trade here before this other duo comes in, they'll be in good shape.
And it's not just one other duo that Cliix and Epic might have to worry about. A little bit further east of their current position, seems as though 2 more teams potentially looking to make the approach. See already Pump in the distance, and Pump and Empen are definitely not a duo that you want to find yourself getting pincer between when Playify and Higher are already in your immediate box fight. So curious how that's going to develop later on for Epic and Cliix. They're definitely going to need to find some eliminations quickly. It's Kanata trying to connect with some Huntress DMR damage, but it's not that easy.
Yeah, a lot harder to do now with that lead time you have to account for, of course, and you can see Kanata trying to do just that. But, you know, pressure is on right now. Rotates are happening all around them, so you see this is it's going to be a lot harder than it may look to find your Storm Surge, just even regardless if you have some of the best positioning in the game. Cliix and Epic Whale back into the action here, so from one duo onto another, but this might be the fatal error, although it does seem like they're forced, right? Their hand is kind of forced here as they're so far slipping below the Surge. And have to pop the, eat this banana here to get their HP up. They do still have some extra chug splashes in case things get a little bit more dire, but Cliix is gonna opt for popping the big pot here first, given that he's got enough time to do so, and then go for the clean exchange. Epic jumps into the box in the front line there. Trashy gets punished, but Cliix has to turn this around, and he does just in the nick of time. But there is another duo looking in, possibly deciding if they're going to jump into this fight, but oh, things might actually be in their favor. Yeah, so luckily for Epic Whale and Cliix, no one else decides to jump in here. They get the knocks, they get the finishes that they were looking for.
Cliix and Epic also not having to expend all of the loot that they were fighting over, dealing with that weapons bunker in the first place. Trouble does continue to build, though. Yamzo and Rise talk about optimal positioning, and Yamzo Now with this waterbending Mythic, trying to apply some pressure onto Baka's box, but with the safety of this bush to provide so much natural coverage, Yamzu and Rise, they might be able to try and control the flow of the lobby, control which way players are actually looking to rotate in. And that's another issue too for Criizux and Epic and some of those other teams that were kind of straggling over near that bunker by Lavish, because they've got a decent amount of ground to cover. And when you've got players, teams that are as experienced as Yamzu and Rise already establishing optimal positioning, it's going to be so difficult to try and rotate through that.
A lot going on right now. So we can see Bugha and Agers looking to set up here. And of all the players competing today, over 640 FNCS Finals appearances collectively across the group. Big numbers here, big action as well, as this is gonna be the most contested area of the zone. I'm more surprised to see Bugha and Agers opting to sit here, although, I mean, I guess options are pretty limited as they don't have a lot of HP to work with. It seems like this team might have also been victims of the Storm Surge, so tags are gonna be absolutely welcomed here, but elimination even more so is what this team is gonna need if they wanna have a chance. I mean, Taco, tell me, what do you think about this as teams are just starting to collapse in from the zone?
This is full shambles. Unless Bugha can somehow make his way to Ritual's body, he needs that refresh, and he has to hope that there is some form of shield or white heals to go with it, because Agers completely functioning off of scraps right now. It's kind of miraculous that he's even still standing currently, and Bugha, yeah, just seizes the opportunity immediately. Knew that he had no other choice but to go for that loot, but again, he picks up another bottle of Flowberry Fizz, but still, without a Menka and only bandages to work with, still not the ideal position that you would expect. So definitely that long rotate from the start has certainly played a key factor here. And it could also have something to do with some of these big surge towers that we've been seeing throughout the map. I know in EU it's been relatively popular, and the way that lobbies are just getting bottlenecked in the mid-map, it's so difficult for teams to actually maintain surge and rotations.
Take a look at this. Criizux and Epic Whale have found themselves below the surge, and then you have moments like this where a 302 tag swings all that damage your way. Look, that puts him exactly where he needs to be above right now, but the focus from the lobby is coming in from just across the distance, and Criizux has to hit those shots when defending himself in these type of moments. But hey, we talk about things that are going to affect the lobby. This is a problematic situation right here. The zone is starting to end on top of the grim world here, right? Like the underworld, what's going to happen is teams are going to have this underworld dash available to them. That means anything can happen right now. No one is safe by any means, because before you know it, someone can dash into your box, right? We've seen that happen time and time again. So this can be pretty much the wild card factor right here for any duo.
That's why I like how Criizux and Epic were actually splitting their duo responsibilities in that instance. We saw Epic holding the wall, meanwhile Criizux, he's trying to prioritize, just getting some of that sniper damage online. Again, getting aggressive, but oh, just a little bit too far. Criizux finds himself punished, gets the knock, but in the process, might have to trade himself out. Epic is going to go for the revive, though. Might be able to stick it, but no, the lobby focus is just unbearable currently.
Yeah, it's tags coming from really from above. It's not even to the left and right. It was a team above him, but luckily everything does end up coming. And it's actually Reet and Ritual who were looking down on Criizux and Epic Whale. Little does he know that could have been the end of game number 1 for them, and this is the most critical time in this game right here. We're inside the top 20. This full commitment to this entire run that's been laid down for all of the competitors so far, and now the placement points are going to start racking up tremendously here. Should you be able just to survive a little bit longer? As we start jumping into what's happening here, our EU, Paco and Mixin teams, a sleeper duo gets an exchange out of the way, unfortunately, taking out Muzz in the process there. So trades happening left and right. We're pulling away from the underworld rivers and now onto the POI itself. If only Boyo and Peterbot were a little bit more passive, this would have been a game possibly in the books for them.
I don't think that word is in their vocabulary, MDF, but as far as Ritual is concerned, operating as a solo currently. Could be difficult. Ager's just trying to get some semblance of hype maintenance, but it does a decent job at flagging down Epic and Clicks on their rotate. It's at least gonna buy Ager's a little bit more time here, possibly even able to throw up a facade to Clicks and Epic, like, hey, it's not just me. It all depends on whether or not Clicks and Epic are really aware of what that elimination feed has been looking like, as Clicks not content with being forced to kind of operate through this low ground. Rapid just on the other side of these builds. And Batman Booga as well, trying to stay wary, create a little bit of space still, but Clicks and Epic, they just want to keep things moving. And with that river of sticks to their advantage, they've really just got to look out for the high ground now, because Seek and Dash have taken over.
We've seen Seek and Dash win a game as well from these types of position before too, so this is exciting to watch start to play out here for Dash and Seek. There might just be a huge opportunity for them presenting themselves right now, but I'm looking at the feed. Epic, Whale's gonna fall. Batman Booga's down as well. Cooper and Kanata have a chance here as some of the juggernauts are being crossed out of the lobby here. Clicks is left to run by himself. Tail tucked between his legs here. Meanwhile, Yamzo and Rise have a chance as well to solidify themselves straight to the finals here in game 1.
It's always nice when you give me the first one. Straight Victory Royale into watching the rest of the competition. But again, they've got to deal with all these other teams still trying to duke it out as well. Yamzo Rise making a valiant attempt here now, operating through the secondary height layer, but finding themselves just suppressed a little bit further. They've got to be careful though with some of these rotates. A lot of teams kind of hovering towards this mid-ground territory, and nobody seems like they want to try and stay playing to the back of the zone. All these teams, MPen Pump, trying to make sure that they stay as full forward as possible with this zone pool deep into the underworld.
MPen and Pump have had just a spectacular performance over the last couple of weeks, continuing to trend in the right direction, really standing themselves out as a solid duo to look out for here as we start gearing up towards the finals. But you got to make it there first. Cooper's going to jump into a battle here with Kanata, dashes past the enemies, and this is what we talked about, that unpredictability that can occur here when you start taking teams here on the river of the underworld. Everyone has dashes, everyone has the opportunity to reposition themselves, and if you let your guard down, that'll be it. Kanata by himself here inside a top 10 situation, still an impressive performance nonetheless, but it's only going to get more and more difficult here now.
He's just running out of builds. That refresh could be a lifesaver, though. On to Rapid. A good punish from Kanata, but again, the high ground. It's Yasir and Criizux all the way from the starting point of this lobby. They have just had this shutdown semblance, and this is looking like they are primed to take this Victory Royale home.
No mats.
Kanata as a solo, he's trying.
No one has mats on high ground. No one has mats on low ground. Maybe Pars does. The edit comes through. Kanata has to hit the shot that matters. What a genius edit there to swap the cone and recognizes there's an indestructible rock in front of him. But Criizux and Yasir haven't stopped either, but Pars is going to get the best of them. It's a 2v1 situation. Yasir and Criizux close the deed in the end. And from the Frenzy Farms, 4 teams contesting the Drop Taco, they go straight to the finals.
That first elimination onto Cold seemed like it was their catalyst throughout the duration of this first lobby MDF. They just took full advantage. They got that early surge. They also made sure to full punish Peterbot and Pollo later on in the 3rd and 4th zones. I mean, the fact that they chased them as long as they did, they were just so intent on making sure that they kept this momentum running.
That was probably by far the best game this duo has had all year long, and with standout, and I mean it, standout eliminations through and through from beginning to end. I mean, even there, taking down the likes of Bolts, Pars. How many FNCS champions did this team wrap up and scrape up under the belt? Well, the count continues as Criizux and Yasir do it for game number 1. So with that, let's go on and jump onto the desk.